Good morning, and welcome to our fourth episode of Sunday Morning Joy here on Pride London Network. The purpose of the show is to serve the LGBTQ2 plus community and our allies to feature our local musical talent. We need to hear from you. Give us your feedback. Tell us about any local artist you'd like to see on our show, and any other comments or suggestions you may have for us. You can contact me, Rod, at pridelondon.ca. Last week we featured Clark Bryan, the Executive Director of Aeolian Hall in London, and a brilliant pianist as well as a strong community advocate. Well, today we're featuring Clark's husband, Brian Gloyd, who's also a brilliant pianist and a strong community advocate. These two men have done an awful lot for music in London, Ontario. The neat thing about their relationship is that while Clark is a concert pianist with tremendous skill in classical and art music, Brian, to contrast this, has incredible ability as a contemporary music and a jazz pianist. And I'm always enthralled when I hear Brian play. Brian grew up on a farm south of Hamilton. He started playing at 6, but just after he started, he lost 2 fingers on his left hand in a farming accident. But that didn't stop him. He was not formally trained beyond grade 8 piano. He pretty much figured out his own style of playing through improvisation. Brian came out as a gay man when he was 42 years old. He has 3 children and 6 grandchildren. The song Brian is playing today is How Do You Keep the Music Playing, written by Michel Legrand in the 70s and sung by several artists, including James Ingram with Patti Austin, Barbra Streisand, Frank Sinatra, you name it. It is a song about what it takes to keep a relationship, any kind of relationship, going. And it really fits the time that we're going through right now. Brian says it's an emotional touchstone for him. So enjoy Brian Gloyd playing How Do You Keep the Music Playing? The song you're going to hear next is performed by Pride Men's Chorus London, and it's called Turn It Off. It's from the musical The Book of Mormon. Many of us have been raised in faiths where the expectation is that we suppress our human qualities. Gender identities and sexual orientations are to be repressed in favor of the faith-based or community norms. As a disclaimer, even though the title is Turn It Off, please understand that the song is tongue-in-cheek. We are not advocating for people to extinguish all of their human qualities. In fact, we're showing how ridiculous the practice of hiding your true self is. The soloists in this piece are, in order of performance, Michael Heath, Emerson Ross, and Lucas McHugh. So enjoy Pride Men's Chorus London singing Turn It Off. And remember, it's tongue-in-cheek. We don't actually believe this.
I got a feeling that you could be feeling a whole lot better than you feel today. You say you got a problem? Well, that's no problem. It's super easy not to feel that way. When you start to get confused because of thoughts in your head, don't feel those feelings. Hold them in instead.
Turn it off like a light switch, just don't click. It's a cool little Mormon trick. We do it all the time. Make your feelings turn to feelings that just don't seem right. Treat those pesky feelings like a reading light. And turn them off like a light switch, just go back. Really, what's so hard about that?
Turn it off!
Turn it off.
When I was young, my dad would hurt my mom real bad. Every time the Utah Jazz would lose, he'd start drinking and I'd start thinking, how am I gonna keep my mom from getting abused? I'd see her all scared and my soul was dying. My dad would say to me, now don't you dare start crying.
Turn it off like a light switch, just go flick. It's a nifty little Mormon trick.
Turn it off.
Turn it off.
When I was in 5th grade, I had a friend, Steve Blaze. He and I were close as two friends could be. One thing led to another, and soon I would discover I was having really strange feelings for Steve. I thought about us on a deserted island. We'd swim naked in the sea, and then he'd try and, whoa, turn it off.
Like a light switch, there it's gone.
My hetero side just won. I'm all better now.
Boys should be with girls and be father's friend. So if you ever feel you gotta be with a man, turn it off.
Well, Elder McKinley, I think it's okay to have gay thoughts as long as you don't act on them.
Cause then you're just keeping it down. Like a dimmer switch on low.
On low.
Thinking nobody needs to know.
Oh.
But that's not true. Being gay is bad, but lying is worse. So just realize we have a curable curse and turn it off! Turn it off! Now how do you feel? The same. Well, you've only got yourself to blame. You didn't pretend hard enough. Imagine that your brain is made of tiny boxes. The bind the box is gay and crush it! Okay? No, I'm not having gay thoughts.
All right, it worked.
The song you're going to hear next is performed by Pride Men's Chorus London, and it's called Turn It Off. It's from the musical The Book of Mormon. Many of us have been raised in faiths where the expectation is that we suppress our human qualities. Gender identities and sexual orientations are to be repressed in favor of the faith-based or community norms. As a disclaimer, even though the title is Turn It Off, please understand that the song is tongue-in-cheek. We are not advocating for people to extinguish all of their human qualities. In fact, we're showing how ridiculous the practice of hiding your true self is. The soloists in this piece are, in order of performance, Michael Heath, Emerson Ross, and Lucas McHugh. So enjoy Pride Men's Chorus London singing Turn It Off. And remember, it's tongue-in-cheek. We don't actually believe this.
Thank you very much.
I'm Petra Donati from Pride London, Entertainment Director, and you're watching Pride London Network.
Eric Knapp is a new name in London, Ontario, but he's not new internationally. He just moved here this past August, and already he's having an impact on the City of London, creating wonderful music despite the pandemic. He is the new Director of Music and organist at First St. Andrew's United Church here in London. A native of northern Minnesota, he has taught music classes, directed choirs, taught organ, piano, and voice in kindergarten to grade 12, public schools, private schools, colleges, and universities. He's been an organist and director of music across the U.S., led professional choirs on tours, and has given organ recitals in 8 countries. He has an undergraduate and master's degree in, horticulture, as well as degrees in vocal music and music education. He did his master's and doctorate degrees in choral conducting and organ at North Dakota State University in Fargo and the University of Oslo in Norway. He also has a culinary degree and has served as an executive chef at 3 restaurants. But he's also a strong community advocate. He started a PFLAG chapter. PFLAG stands for Parents and Friends of Lesbians and Gays. And he's also organized a First Pride event in his previous city in Texas. His hobbies include gardening, cooking. He's apparently written 6 cookbooks, entertaining, antiquing, travel, water aerobics, and Norwegian culture. The organ piece that Eric is playing today is totally different from anything else you've seen on this show. It's an avant-garde piece. It's called Dream Poem, and it's by the Norwegian composer Knut Nystedt. It's a very modern avant-garde piece. At one point, you'll see Eric put his entire left forearm down on the organ keyboard. But you'll have a chance to witness his fanciful footwork on the organ pedal board. So I hope you enjoyed this performance. Eric Knapp. A huge name in the music scene here in London is the inspirational Mark Smith. He is involved in, well, just about everything. He's a professional musician who is a collaborative pianist and a music director. If I went through his entire biography, we'd be here all day, so I'll do some highlights. Mark studied classical piano through the Royal Conservatory of Music and jazz piano at Humber College. He has sung with countless choirs as a youth, and now he directs choirs. He is heavily involved in musical theater, performing with professional and community groups. He has also been a pianist and musical director of many productions. He is a strong advocate for his community. Mark is always involved in Black History Month and raises awareness about racial inequities and concerns in our community. He also volunteers with Camp Wendake, which is a camp for people living with HIV, an interest that Mark and I share together. We also share another interest in that we used to co-direct Broadway Singers. Mark continues to direct Broadway Singers with Paul Grambo. He's currently music director at Riverside United Church. Most importantly, Mark is inspirational. He lights up a room when he walks in and people gravitate towards him. And I'm so lucky to have him as a friend. Today, Mark is playing and singing Our Love Is Here to Stay by George and Ira Gershwin.
The more I read the papers, the less I comprehend the world in all its capers and how it all will end. Nothing seems to be lasting, but that isn't our affair. We've got something permanent, I mean in the way we can. It's very clear our love is here to stay, not for a year, but ever and a day. The radio and the telephone and the movies that we know may just be passing fancies and in time may go. But oh my dear, our love is here to stay. Together we're going a long, long way. In time the Rockies may crumble, Gibraltar may tumble, they're only made of clay. But our love is here too, our love is here too, our love is here to stay. Our love is here to stay.
André Gagnon sadly passed away this past month. He was a Canadian composer who wrote countless musical scores for his own recordings, for films, musicals, and other recording artists' albums. He was often criticized for being a classical composer who also made money in the world of popular music. Ironically, that's what fascinates me the most about him, his ability to recognize that music needs to be accessible to all people. This pandemic has given me a reason to get outside more than I normally do, and I've become one of those old guys who you see walking around on hiking paths and paths in the city with his camera, maybe off the beaten path with my camera up in the air, focused on some strange bird. So I decided to take some of my bird photos and couple them with a lovely short piano piece by André Gagnon called Tomorrow. I think it's a nice way to commemorate this wonderful Canadian icon.